Working in customer support is never easy. Working in tech support? I can't even imagine. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Tech Support. Our first tale is from Mother Distance 4714. This was from the old days when I was working for the on-site service of a big PC server company. I was responsible for the on-site service in my region. It was a dark Friday night in September, and I had just lit a nice fire in my fireplace, had a nice hot chocolate, and a book when my phone rang. I needed to head to a client now, as all of his 10 servers were out, and the hotline could not find out why and what to do. As I arrived, I could confirm that indeed all 10 servers were dead. Like no light, no nothing. The IT guy was a middle-aged electrical engineer who was very upset and quite angry, and so it took a little time to find out what happened. Very long story short, the guy thought it was a good idea to do some firmware updates via the iDRAC while no one was there that could complain about the servers rebooting. That is indeed a valid reason to do this on all servers at once on a Friday evening. So he clicked on Update All and went to do other stuff. Then he did a little more, and then he did something else. He told me all he did in excruciating detail. Nothing he did had anything to do with the servers, but he could not be stopped. As the servers were still updating, he then went out to have a smoke. As he returned, the servers were offline, and he was not able to connect to the devices. So he obviously did what any responsible user would do. He tried to power cycle the devices, each and every one of the poor things, the hard way by cutting the power to the enclosure. This was the exact moment that he learned that power supplies have a BIOS too. He also learned that this BIOS can be updated. He learned that when this happens, everything else shuts down. He learned that an update on a PSU is a very slow thing, and he learned that cutting power to a PSU that is updating instantly kills the poor little thing. Well, I ordered 20 new PSUs. Installing them revived all servers. Time and time again, we see people as IT people that probably shouldn't be working in IT, period, especially given the fact that these IT people can't even fix problems that they end up creating. Our next tale is by Spetty23. A few years ago, one of the tasks I was working on was converting network drives to SharePoint shared files. If you don't know how these work, you log into the relevant SharePoint, go to the Documents section, click the Sync button, and it adds it to your Windows Explorer. From there, you can treat it basically like any other folder. What we would do is pre-sync the files, and overnight do the actual cutover, so there's minimal chance of people working on files at the cutover time. There was one particular drive I was converting that was related to finance. I reach out to the owner of that network drive over MS Teams, explain what I plan to do, and ask if they can advise who should have access to the SharePoint when the files are moved over. I can't remember the exact wording, but the reply over Teams came across as everyone who has access to the network drive should have access to the SharePoint, and that part should be obvious to me. I confirmed via Teams that I will cut over the files tonight on a specific date. Everyone who currently has access to the network drive will have access to the SharePoint, and I will send out an email to these people how they sync to the SharePoint. I then copy and paste the Teams conversation into the ticket, perform the cutover, as agreed, overnight on the night, and send out an email to all relevant users explaining how to sync to the SharePoint. The next morning, an email with the high priority flag gets sent from the aforementioned owner of the network drive to me, the CIO, CTO, CFO, my manager, the help desk manager, the finance manager, basically everyone short of the Queen of England. The email says that lots of staff have access to confidential information they should not have access to, and straight up blamed me for it. Before I had even read the email, the CIO had already done a reply all. He's looked up the ticket, seen the Teams message I copied and pasted into the ticket, and showed said MS Teams conversation. He stated that I was requested to copy over permissions by that person, which is exactly what I did. That is the reason that these people have access to the confidential information. It's amazing how fast the email chain changed from "why did this happen" to "how can we fix this?" To save this turning into a 70-page novel, what had happened is although a lot of people had access to the drive, not everyone had it mapped as a letter, or even knew they had access. An emergency review was done on who should have access, and the access list amended accordingly. Getting confirmation on what was being done and documenting it saved me that day from being thrown under a bus, and also demonstrated that day that the CIO had our backs. I'm never surprised when I see a manager order something to be done and then try to throw somebody under the bus when that thing is done. Good thing OP did actually copy that email chain and post it in the ticket, because I 100% agree, it saved their bottom. And our final tale is by Derek Wildstar1. I'm sure this has been brought up before, but I'll share a fun story from about 10 years ago. Edit, I guess time flies. It's been about 16 years ago. Working in a medium-sized accounting firm in the big city, we had an auditor who thought she knew everything about IT, simply because her husband worked for RIM, BlackBerry. She was originally from Houston, and I don't care much for folks from down there. If you are a Houstonian, don't take too much offense. I'm sure you hate North Texas folks too. Anyway, she walks in with a laptop and says it will not boot up. Sure enough, got a message that it cannot find the OS. Give her a loaner lappy. Now, we encrypt our laptops at the time with McAfee endpoint encryption. Pulled out the decrypting software and began to decrypt for the rest of the day to get safe boot off. Get it right before 5 p.m., and sure enough, getting smart errors. Called her into the IT office the next day and told her that her hard drive was failing. Also discovered she was not saving files to the network drive. Her excuse? VPN is too slow, so I save them to the hard drive. Yeah, I know it can be slow, but firm policy is you save everything to the network. I get back her lappy and tell her to move those files to the server, with the understanding that she will be using the loaner laptop for a while, and she needs to bring it back once the files are synced. After about 5 minutes, I got a hunch something wasn't right. Go to her cube, she's freaking gone. Left firm with an unencrypted laptop. She works with people's social security numbers, for heaven's sake. Drive is an imminent threat of mechanical failure. Next day she arrives, says machine will not load Windows. Yup. Smart failure has reached its zenith. Drive is toast. Explain that to her. Next day, one of the partners asks me what happened. I explain all this crap. Found out she didn't sync a freaking thing to the server, and now the firm must write down an additional 60 hours of time that is not billable, all because the work has to be recreated. By the next day, she was gone. A senior auditor with tenure in the firm. Lesson here? Not listening to IT can get you fired. It's crazy that she just decided to do whatever the hell she felt she wanted, and maybe she let that tenure go to her head. Because obviously if you're working with that kind of sensitive data and you're not doing your job, I don't see how there can't be repercussions. And in this case, that repercussion was being fired. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Tech Support. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.